Show on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
All right, welcome in. Our new drug today is one day closer, hump day as it were. CJ Beathard's back in the fold on a Wednesday afternoon on the First Coast.
Nothing signifies a 7-1 finish like signing CJ Beathard to your 53-man roster. Now the final piece of the puzzle is in place.
The mystery is solved.
Oh, the Vikings have a monster problem on Sunday.
That would surprise me. I suppose, and Doug pretty much said it in his presser today, that just to be sure, you can't go into the game with one quarterback. There's not one on the practice squad.
It was also kind of funny because he was almost like, yeah, and our roster is like so awful in those last few spots that who cares really anyway, you know? So we all like CJ, so it's great having him back in the room, and we've got the roster space, so why not add him back? But yeah, I would imagine it's in case something happens early in the game to Trevor, the shoulder flares up, Mac Jones goes in, something happens to Mac Jones, and now you're in a real emergency. So now with CJ Beathard, you've got somebody that's obviously very familiar with everything here and can step right in if need be. Yeah,
and Trevor, officially upper body, it's been reported that it's left shoulder. We'll see whether or not how significant it is, and I'm sure as the week goes on, we'll find out more about Trevor Lawrence. I want to talk about Trevor today, though. So
he's always really sharp when he doesn't practice, so I'm sure it bodes well for Sunday. But at least it seemed like he was going to be limited today, so hopefully he's at least able to do something. Because last year when he couldn't practice in those final 5-6 weeks,
really struggled. Yeah,
it showed up,
and
really by his own admission.
Yeah, and look, you got to practice. I mean, practice does matter. So we'll get to that coming up today. I got a thought or two about Trevor, and I'm going to get to that coming up today on the program. A lot of things to get to, some good college games. You just heard Max talk about it. You know, it's a good college weekend, man.
Great.
I was thinking about this the other day. It's a good college weekend. We'll get to some of the games coming up in a bit. So, but a very good college weekend coming up this weekend. I mean, again, when LSU and Alabama is the by the way game, that's pretty good, right?
Absolutely. And I've got. You've got Miami at Georgia Tech. I think is interesting. Florida at Texas is interesting.
Certainly around here.
If Lagway plays. Yeah. Obviously, Georgia at Ole Miss is arguably the game of the weekend. Michigan going to Indiana. Michigan's having a really disappointing year, but could they pull an upset over the Hoosiers? I am still intrigued by Florida State going to Notre Dame. That's a game that I'll be interested in. And then, obviously, Alabama at LSU. So I think 6 really intriguing games, and that makes for a very good Saturday.
Yeah, there's no question. It'll be an absolute good Saturday. So you're right about that. All right. Brett Hastings along today. We'll be in studio to talk about an interesting topic involving Michael Jordan. We'll tell you what that is when it comes up in a bit. But it'll be a very interesting topic that has to do with Michael Jordan, and that's all I'll say. But it's a bit interesting stuff. So Sports and Course comes up today on the program. I want to talk a little bit about Trevor Lawrence today on the show. We've got our State Farm College Football Report today. That is Shane Matthews, Tom Block, and Joe Zagacki. They come up as well. I do want to tell you about something fun coming up on Monday, by the way, and something I'm really proud of. Monday is Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a special day, and Veterans Day matters. It certainly matters everywhere, but in this town that is such a military town, well, for I think the third year in a row we've done this, thanks to our friends from Firewatch. We'll be at String Sports Bar in Springfield on Veterans Day. We've done it on Fridays before, but we wanted to do it on Veterans Day. Our friends at Firewatch, which is created, as you know, to address sort of veteran suicide, and they've done such a magnificent job with that, and the Cohen Clinic at Centerstone. They get together, and they are having us out. They are the hosts. And on Monday at Strings, every veteran gets a sandwich and a beer free of charge. Active military, former military, retired military, if you've served our country or are serving our country, and we're going to celebrate by being out there to do the show, go to Strings in Springfield sometime during the day while they're open on Monday. Lunch and the beers on them, on our friends from Firewatch, and I think it's cool. It's a little thing. I know that it's just a sandwich and a beer. I get it, or a drink if you're not a beer drinker, whatever. I know it's a little thing, but I think sometimes those little things are the most important things, and I'm very proud that we're doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's always very educational as well, just to learn more about Firewatch and and the things that we can do to help our veterans. And so it'll be a great show.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward. So that comes up on Wednesday's program again. A salute to the military. Our friends from Firewatch, Mike Fleming stops by, and others from Firewatch to explain kind of what they do and how you can help and how you can be a watchstander and how you can help. But again, on Monday, on actual Veterans Day, a lot of you are off work. Come on by and say hello to the veterans. And again, to all active or retired military, you eat free lunch, sandwich, and a beer or the drink of your choice, which is really cool. And a side, by the way, sandwich, side, and a beer. Again, I think it's just a cool thing, and I can't wait to get out to Strings in Springfield on Monday. By the way, that Penman Road location is almost open. That's what my operatives tell me. That one at the beach. Mm-hmm. You think that thing's going to be any good?
Fantastic.
Lauren Brooks lives 12 feet from there.
Oh, wow.
It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
That's very dangerous. Lauren Brooks living that close is very dangerous. Okay. So I think she's already got her ID card. I think she told me that today. I think she's already got her membership card to Strings. But we're excited about that. So we're certainly excited about it. A lot of things to get to today on the program. Sports and Courts comes up in a bit. I do want to get into the college games. The first college football poll is available, the first college football rankings. What grabbed you? Anything when you saw it?
Just that Alabama being the highest-ranked two-loss team, I thought was interesting. SMU being the first team out, interesting to see that. Ole Miss, LSU, SEC teams that are on the outside looking in right now. And so, I didn't think it was – first off, I don't put a ton of stock in it because we still have a whole month of the season to play. And my team is out of it, so there's nothing as a sports fan I can look at it and say, well, if this happens or that happens. So, I didn't think it was anything that blew my mind. And the other thing too is, as we've seen with this committee, these rankings mean nothing. I mean, they could totally switch what they want to do, and it could line up this way. And let's say there's no real upsets. Obviously, some teams they're going to play each other, but they could just decide in the last week to move, team 6 to 9, and I mean, it just to me, it's almost like there's not a lot of carryover from one week to the next. It's like they kind of just fly by the seat of their pants, and then they get to the final one, and they're like, okay, now we're going to actually do it for real. And sometimes you see shifting that really makes no sense other than the fact that they just decided to switch it at the last minute, despite, putting out multiple rankings before that. So, but no, did anything strike you as odd?
Well, not odd. Odd would be the wrong word, but there is affirmation that this is about eye test, strength of schedule, way more than it's about record. That's the bottom line. I mean, Miami has 2 unbeaten teams ahead of it. The Miami Hurricanes are undefeated, and they've got 2 teams ahead of them that have got a loss. Now, you can make the argument that Ohio State and Georgia are better that you'd pick if they played, but they've got 2. The Indiana is undefeated in the Big Ten. We're not talking about a small league now. The Big Ten, which is regarded as one of the 2 elite teams, Indiana is undefeated in the Big Ten and has five one-loss teams ahead of them. Now, look, Indiana's played nobody. This has been a really weak schedule. I get it. I'm not sure I'd pick Indiana to beat any of those teams. But for the sake of the conversation, record does not stand up as much as strength of schedule, eye test, the rest of it, because so I knew it was going to be. I figured the poll would mostly mirror the AP poll, and it mostly does. There's some exceptions. I figured for the most part, even the voters, Hays, are probably using that AP poll as sort of their basis. So the polls are very similar, as you knew they would be. I'll give you an example.
Yeah, in fact, the top 12 are basically the top 12.
They move around a little.
The only difference is Georgia is second in the AP and they're third in the playoff. Right. But after you get beyond that,
it's all the same.
It's the exact same thing.
Other than 2 and 3 flop, it's all the same. But so that's been the foundation for it. But it affirmed in my mind that that's what they're going to do. What they're going to do is they're going to. So you might have. BYU's a Power 5 team too, by the way. Or Power 4 team now. They're in the Big 12 now. They're 8-0. I think they could go 12-0, and 2 lost teams will be ahead of them.
Well, if they win the Big 12, they'll be the 4 seed.
Yeah. Well, okay, but for the good point. But for the sake of until that game,
right.
12-0 until that game. Okay, they could be 12-0 the week before that game, and I'll bet you a number of not one loss, 2 loss teams will be ahead of them.
Absolutely. No, I agree. The strength of schedule is probably the biggest metric that they use.
Right.
And again, Indiana's strength of schedule is 103rd in the country. I think it's a big reason why Ole Miss is well back in terms of schools with 2 losses. Obviously, Alabama is the top, but LSU is 6-2, Texas A&M is 7-2, Ole Miss then 7-2 at 16. Ole Miss has played a putrid non-conference schedule, and so it deserves to sting you. If it becomes now, when you're in Indiana's case, it's a little different because you haven't done anything wrong. You've won every game. But if you start taking a loss or 2 and you've got a pathetic non-conference, or it just didn't line up well in your conference, the conferences are so huge now that you're not going to play 40% of your league. And so some of the schedules just are going to be unbalanced, like Indiana's schedule. It's not their fault. They're 9-0, but the way that it's laid out is they just haven't played anybody of consequence. So I like strength of schedule. I think it should matter if it hurts Indiana or BYU. That's, to me, that's just the way the rub of the greens. I think in this sport, you've got to go get signature wins. You've got to go play on the road, beat quality opponents on the road. And if you end up playing 12 teams that aren't very good, even if you win them all, I think that has to be taken into consideration as a negative.
Yeah, and so we'll certainly talk about that. Well, that's on the docket for today. I want to go through Trevor Lawrence's play, his performance, his stats. How has Trevor been? And I want to get to that today on the program. How good has Trevor Lawrence been? And I think he's pretty good. But it's up for discussion. What he's done well, what he's done wrong, what has not been his fault. I certainly want to get to that coming up. But with Trevor Lawrence banged up a little bit today, with C.J. Beathard in the fold today, a good day to certainly get to that. We'll get to some of the college games again. The State Farm College Football Report is today as well. Josh Pate will be with us, the terrific college football analyst. That's our Woolsey Morecambe National College Football Report. So we're loaded up with stuff as we always are. Glad you're with us on this Wednesday. Our Wednesday is always brought to you by Ricketts Electric. If you need an electrician, the best in the business, my friends, from Ricketts Electric, give them a call today. I mean, commercial, residential, you name it, they'll do it. They're as good as it gets. We'll take a break. Sports and Courts with Brett Hastings is next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Kick off your college football weekend with a Bueller Aaron Plumbing College Kickoff.
I'm Matt Hays, and I'll help you slide into a college football Saturday with pregame news and notes.
Friday evening at 6. Brought to you by Sonny's Barbecue on 1010XL.
This is Hays Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Are you tired of spiders, ants, roaches, or other pests invading your home? Call the winning team at Kingfish Pest Control. Right now, score 20% off your new pest control service when you start during the football season. Also, enter their Swat That Kick Jaguars promotion at jaguars.com for a chance to win 3 years of free pest defense. Save big and defend your home with Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Nimnick Chevrolet is your Silverado headquarters. Frank Frangie here. With the largest inventory on the ground, outstanding cash incentives, and their best price guarantee, your perfect truck is waiting for you at Nimnick. And for even deeper discounts, ask about their demo models. You can shop online 24/7 at nimnickchevy.com or visit the dealership off Cassett Avenue today. Remember, who's got more new Silverados at the best prices? Nobody but Nimnick. That's nimnickchevy.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Yo, what's happening, fellas? It's your boy E to the T. Now, I'm going to keep it real. We could all benefit from a little something extra in the bedroom. Blue Chew can help. Now, I'm about to tell you how you can get some for free. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but in a chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. No doctor visits, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew ships right to your door in a discreet package. Not even them nosy neighbors gonna know what's going on. Blue Chew's licensed medical providers work with you to find the right ingredients and strength for your prescription. And did I mention the chewable? Just like popping a Mentos. And they're made right here in the good old US of A. Now you're asking, how do I get my Blue Chew? Visit BlueChew.com and make sure to enter promo code 1010XL at checkout. Try it for free and just pay $5 shipping. Turn that oh no into an oh yeah. That's right. Use promo code 1010XL and let your boy hook you up with some Blue Chew. Get your confidence back. Visit BlueChew.com.
Hey, gang, Prosser here to save you some cash. Maximize your home sale now with the market experts who deliver more money in less time, and those experts are Chad and Sandy Newman. Maybe you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades needed to sell your home. You don't have to worry. The worries are relieved with Chad and Sandy, the local real estate experts we are trusting and recommending with the sale of your home. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Mortgage rates are down. It's time to create your market. Marvin in Cobblestone writes, my siblings and I moved our parents to Maryland so they can get some extra help as they get older. Next, we had to sell the home to get them some financial help for their extra care. We hired Chad and Sandy, and they delivered big. Chad and Sandy's team got our home sold in 7 days above asking price. You can too. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. Are you tired of wrestling with your old shower curtain? Then say goodbye to the curtain chaos and hello to a new frameless shower enclosure. Wago Glass is clear, classy, and won't stick to you like a toddler at bedtime. Plus, it makes your bathroom look bigger and brighter. Upgrade your shower experience and step into style. Call me at Baker Glass and get ready to love your new glass shower enclosure. Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, congratulating this week's high school scholar athlete, Leighton Yates, senior diver and track and field athlete at Stanton Prep. Leighton is a member of the National Spanish and Psychology Honor Societies. Congratulations, Leighton.
If you have a slow-draining sink or toilet that sounds like it's about to back up, imagine the potential plumbing emergency when you have family over for the holidays. Flush after flush after flush. Avoid holiday clogs with a call to Duck Duck Rooter today. Duck Duck Rooter will come and resolve those plumbing issues so you can enjoy a free-flowing holiday season. Call 904-862-6769. Visit duckduckrooter.com.
Hacker here, and let me tell you, this is the stuff I never thought I'd say. I now weigh 209 pounds thanks to Awaken 180. To put that in perspective, I'm down from a triple XL to a large. My waist has dropped 10 inches from a 48 to a 38. I honestly never thought I'd get to this point. And one of the best parts now is that I get to be so active and play every afternoon with my 5-year-old little Hack. Now, none of this would have been possible without Awaken 180 weight loss. They don't just help you lose weight, they make the impossible possible. We're celebrating this Saturday at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach for a Florida, Texas watch party. Yes, I will be eating, and yes, I'll be drinking. Both are approved while losing weight with Awaken 180. Now, if you're ready for your own transformation, making the impossible possible, do what we all did and choose the solution for weight loss at awaken180weightloss.com. If they did this for me, they can do it for you too.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports in Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
All right, Brett Hastings is here. We got an interesting topic today. I want you to get through the details, but really the topics are pro sports, collective bargaining, what allows them to make what rules, and how do you beat the rules. Now, the example we're going to use involves Michael Jordan, because Michael's always sexy when Michael's involved. Michael Jordan owns a racing team. Is this correct?
This is correct.
Is it a NASCAR team?
It's a NASCAR team, yeah.
Okay.
It's called like 23X1 Racing.
Okay.
He co-owns it with somebody else. And then another group called Front Row Motorsports. They have a lawsuit together against NASCAR.
Okay, so they're suing NASCAR. And again, this isn't a topic about NASCAR. You think, why are you guys talking about NASCAR? That's not what it's about. But it's interesting because how it relates to pro sports, what they can and can't do. First of all, give me a quick overview of the Jordan law.
I will. So this is antitrust, okay? We talk about this all the time. Antitrust sounds more legal and technical than it is. Think anti-competition. That's what antitrust is, right? And so when we have sports, we have monopolies, right? So when we talk about furniture manufacturers, car manufacturers, and all that, we're in America. We just had this great election last night, right? This is a democracy, and it's based on competition. But in sports, there's really only one professional sports league that matters. There's only one professional basketball league that matters. And here they're saying, you know what? For all intents and purposes, this is the main, racing group. It's NASCAR. And really, we have gone out of our way to bend our antitrust, anti-competition laws for sports, okay? And at the heart of this case is, what is NASCAR most like? Is it like the NFL? Is it like the NBA? Is it like pro baseball, okay, where you have franchises, players, unions, and it's collectively bargained? And what Jordan and his lawyers are saying, nope, it's not like that. This is like the UFC, and this is like the PGA Tour, and you guys are putting too many conditions on here, right? I don't have to go spend $1 billion to buy the Jaguars or, Washington's franchise or the LA Chargers and have that host of rules. And I don't think I should have to sign your agreement, and it's overreaching because it's an anti-competition act. And I should be able to show up here and race, and there should be some rules, right? And if I'm not fast enough to race, then I shouldn't necessarily race. But you shouldn't put all these conditions on me because I'm not like those groups.
Whereas like baseball, football, basketball, you have to stick to the salary cap, except for baseball, which is too stupid to have one. But you got to stick to the salary cap. You have to have the right roster limits because they've agreed from a collective bargaining standpoint.
Right.
But NASCAR never did that?
No.
Well, first off, phenomenal hat.
Yeah. Okay.
Catalina
like that?
wine mixer.
Do you know this is my Halloween costume? Yeah, I'm dressed up as a sports talk radio guy. So.
No, well, you've missed it, though, because you're too well-dressed.
Exactly.
Okay? You shot too high.
Yeah. But in looking at it, how is the legal argument weakened by the fact that NASCAR has had this system for however long, and they haven't had anybody challenge it?
I think it's ultimately going to be a tough argument. I don't know if I'm breaking news here, but Michael Jordan's a pretty hard-edged guy, right? And so I think he's gone into this because he kind of wants to make a statement. It's an aggressive, type of litigation. And at the end of the day, I don't think NASCAR is going to come out and admit it, but I think they are scared of these things continuing to go down and having problems for antitrust, right? We saw how cocky the college football was on some somewhat similar issues, right? With name, image, and likeness and what people should have to do, and it changed. So I think there's going to be some accommodations. Here, they're seeking an injunction, and there's the antitrust case. So if they lose the injunction, I don't see much happening. But if this judge buys into some of these theories and the injunction, then I think it kind of goes to the next level.
But let me ask you this. So what about the tour? If Bryson DeChambeau says, hey, I want to play on the Live Tour, but I expect to be in a tour event, do they have collective bargaining? Or because if he's comparing it to the tour still has rules, right?
Right.
And you got to play by the rules.
Right. But they say, what Jordan and his lawyers would say, okay, you got to go out there and go to a Q school and make a score.
Right.
And then you're going to come in and then we're going to regulate the sport because that's part of regulating the sport. He's saying, I got the car, okay, I'm complying with your rules, and I just went out and went 232 miles an hour. I'm in the top 32. I don't need to sign all of this other stuff away that you're asking or expecting to me because it's anti-competitive and there's nowhere else that I can go and race. Now, I think there's some arguments they can make for that, though, right? Why don't you go to Indy racing? Why don't you go to IMSA? Why don't you go to some of these other things? So, they're trying to make it out as, hey, NASCAR is a la the NFL or the NBA. And so that's kind of where the rub is. But he would say, you know what? You're right. And his lawyer's saying, listen, those things are collectively bargained. the franchises. There's a whole lot of other things. If you get injured, there's actually worker comp benefits that are available to NFL players. There's pensions. There's money in the CTE. There's a whole bunch of other things there that come with part of it. And that doesn't exist out in racing, right? Different, ownership groups are going to treat their employees and their other people differently. But he's saying, you know what, it's a lot more like, DeChambeau, which that's hard to say, right? Or like the UFC. The UFC, and that's one of the things they draw out, and they say, okay, the UFC could go and regulate this, but you can't necessarily have to sign all of these other things that they require of their agreements.
It'll be very interesting to see, so we'll keep track. While I've got you here, I want to follow up on what you did last week. You did a great job. I had more texts and tweets about people thanking you for preparing them for Florida-Georgia weekend. We had fights at the game.
Right.
Which everybody saw the viral videos.
Right.
We all watched the viral videos of the fights. What happens with those guys? What happened? I mean, at first it looked like the police were inappropriately punching people.
Okay.
I love the fact that TK Waters and the police very quickly came out and said, "Wait a minute, let me show you some other videos."
Right.
Because once you see the other videos, you'll see that our policemen were in the right, which I love that they did that. Where's that whole thing headed legally?
So as I saw, I thought there were two incidents, right, in two different parts of the stadium. One gentleman, was making racial slurs, and I saw a video of him reaching for the gun, right?
And said he was going to kill a cop.
Right. So he's got some real problems. He's going to be dealing with the criminal case.
Yeah.
There's not going to be any sort of civil rights or other part of the case. The other ones, I hadn't been able to see the complete context, right?
Okay.
And as we had said, law enforcement officers are in there. There's a lot of intoxicated people. A lot of things are going on, and they've got to secure the thing. But what happens is once you secure an individual, it becomes an issue of, did you use excessive force, right? So if you got him in the cuffs, he's a 62-year-old guy, you got him down on the things, do you need to hit him 10 more times? Are there physical injuries that come out of that or whatever? So he has been detained, and there needs to be an underlying criminal action for that, right? It could be public intoxication like we talked about last time. He could have touched an officer and not had a basis. If you simply touch an officer
that's where I'm going
with your finger, that's a felony,
well,
right?
See that's where I'm going. If the officer says, let's go, you got to leave. And the guy says, I'm not going to leave. And you talked about the one guy that was saying all the racial stuff. He's in big trouble and he should be. Put him under the jail. But the other guy in the other incident, if he says, why do I have to leave? And he puts his hand on the cop, can't the cop then defend himself? I mean, at that point, if the cop swings at him,
he can't, but he can't use any more force than necessary to place him under arrest. He's going to ask him to do it first. He's going to go through those things. So what I was saying to you, and I don't know enough about that incident, but from a legal standpoint, there'd be a criminal case going against him, right? Because you can't put cuffs and take somebody off unless you go ahead and you legally arrest them at that point. So you assume they're going to go through the process. And then he could say, you know what? I was arrested. I was detained. I'm going to fight that charge. But I believe that my civil rights were violated and that there was excessive force that was used, and did he end up getting a cracked skull, a broken jaw? I don't know. And none of those things that do I have any understanding to go. But from a legal standpoint, that's where it comes from. So, and you saw too, and I give the sheriff some credit for bringing it out. And we say this all the time in the law, right? It's about context. You need to see the entirety of the videos. You need to see all of those things. That's why when we have jury trials, somebody doesn't decide it at the end of the plaintiff's case or the defendant's case. You need to see, all of it. But the more viral the video is, it's typically edited down. It's smaller in context, and you don't see all of it. But
didn't you think, Hays, that the best thing the police could have done is quickly release the whole video?
Without a doubt.
That's
because
the whole video.
Once you saw how it escalated, the officers weren't at fault.
That's right. And I do. I think that's, you're right, Brent. I think the fact that they did that quickly, that was a great move.
And that was really the sheriff's decision, because I'll tell you, a lot of times people in risk management, just don't want to say or do anything. Okay. And so a lot of time the lawyers on the other side or whatever say, hey, don't make a statement. Let's see, if an action comes forward, see how this plays out on the criminal case, see what goes on. But they said, you know what, we're going to have transparency. We're going to come out. We're going to explain to you what we did, why we did it, and went into some real detail on that. So that was more than just releasing the video. And I do commend that.
I do too. All right. So Michael Jordan's going to lose his case and the Jacksonville police are defended. That's pretty good sports.
I think we're going to see Michael Jordan's case maybe go away. Yeah, I think Jordan's going to get a little something, because he's a guy with a lot of money that doesn't really like to give up. So,
hey, by the way, while we have you here, great work as always. We have a toy drive.
Yep.
You want to give people the date?
Mark the date. 30 days out from today, right?
Okay.
Is today the 6th?
Today is the 6th.
All right, yeah.
December
6th. Going to be out at the Ale House.
As always.
Right.
As always.
Which is a fantastic location. If somebody hasn't had an opportunity to come out to the toy drive in the past, we've got the Target that's right there, and we have the Walmart, so it's easy to pick things up. Come in and see all the rock stars that are Hays Carlyon and Frank Frangie. And, truly, we got a great group of people who come every year. I really look forward to it. If there's ever a time that you wanted to come out and sit here and watch you guys conduct the show, we provide some food and other stuff for people and do good and bring toys. It's my, as you know, favorite day of the year. So looking forward to it.
So, again, that's to save the date, December 6th, the Hastings Injury Law Firm, Toy Drive. To benefit big brothers, big sisters in Northeast Florida, and you do a fantastic job with it. We're proud
you got
to be
it. Looking forward to it.
We'll take a break. Back after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Let's start the debate. Why would someone buy a new car from you? We have an exclusive 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty on every new vehicle. We offer a competitive wow price plus free oil changes. How much will someone get for their trade? We offer more than $4,000 over KBV value. Well, we never lose a trade over price. Okay, when is the best time to buy a car? Right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter which side you pick. At Beaver Toyota and Beaver Chevrolet, you get it all. Let us show you why we're the winning vote.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Find your midseason stride with MyBookie. Take advantage of their live betting, especially if a heavy favorite gets off to a slow start, and check out their cool prop bets. If you haven't signed up, go to mybookie.ag and register for a free account. Use promo code 1010XL to get a double bonus. For a limited time, MyBookie will double your money on your first deposit. Let's take a look at some updated MyBookie lines. The Jaguars are a 4-point home underdog to the Vikings. The over-under is 46 points. The Gators are getting 21.5 points at Texas, and Notre Dame a 25.5-point favorite over visiting FSU. Sign up with that promo code 1010XL to claim your deposit bonus. Again, it's a double bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie, and don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here, and I can't say enough good things about the team at Sunshine Turf and the work they've done for us. Let Sunshine Turf transform your backyard into a low-maintenance oasis that will be green all year long with artificial turf. Caleb and his team can help you create the lush outdoor space of your dreams, whether you want a durable place for your kids to play or you're ready to say goodbye to muddy paw prints. Visit sunshineturf.info or call 904-383-0243 for a free quote today from Sunshine Turf.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Bold City AC, heating that rules. Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options. Bold City AC, we got the crew. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com. You've heard fish stories, and Captain Kevin has a million of them.
We love to tell stories, hear your stories.
On the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Big fish.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Thursday nights at 6.
On 1010XL AM. Now, it's time to showcase the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game. Live generously and life will treat you royally.
Logan Cook whipped up a spectacular showing against Philadelphia. The Jacksonville punter tallied 5 punts for 238 yards, with his longest going for 56 yards. When it comes to the king of punting, Logan Cook is the one who sits on the throne, and he's your Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS, right here in Jacksonville, is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
This is Dr. Michael Iorio, internal medicine physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
One of the more surprising stories in the NFL this season has been the way Sam Darnold and the Vikings have been playing. Darnold led the Vikings to a 6-2 record so far, playing the best football of his career. Here's Doug Peterson on Darnold's jump and how he makes the offense dynamic.
He's always been a solid quarterback. Whatever team or role he's on, I just think now he's learning, maturing, and showing that he's capable of doing it. And that's what you're seeing on film, taking care of the football. That's a big part of this thing. And yes, Justin Jefferson is obviously an elite receiver in this league that can wreak havoc on you.
The Jags will look to find a solution for an explosive Vikings offense. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
It's a Ricketts Electric Wednesday on the Frangie Show. Ricketts Electric, the power connection you can trust.
We do thank our friends from Ricketts Electric. They do the best job in the business. I'm telling you what, if you need electrical help, whether it is commercial or residential, 904-320-5960. 904-320-5960. That is the number for Ricketts Electric, Zach Ricketts and Company. They do a terrific job.
Great people.
I want to talk about Trevor.
Also a great person.
Great person. 4 years in, forget that, this year. In your opinion, how has Trevor Lawrence played? And include in that all the things he's had working for him and against him. And it's not just fair to say he's done this. Look, he just lost Christian Kirk. You can say you don't like the play calling if you want. So throw in everything.
Sure.
How's Trevor been?
I think Trevor has been a solid B. I certainly think he's had moments of frustration. We remember the Houston game where he missed 2 wide open touchdowns. That was a very poor performance on his part. When your team's 0-3, that's a day where you can't have a bad day. He did. So he obviously deserves a lot of blame for that loss. Obviously he didn't handle the final play well against Philadelphia on Sunday. I mean, that was a terrible decision, terrible pass. And so he's not without blame. But I think a lot of the issues with the offense are things that Trevor doesn't have much to do with. I think they're poorly coached. Press Taylor is a total disaster. And it's a shame Doug Peterson never just took back over the play calling, because I do think he has a gift for doing it. So I think that's been an issue. Gabe Davis has not worked out like they would have liked. You do have the Christian Kirk injury. I would say this with Trevor. Trevor is starting to feel to me like Matthew Stafford did with the Lions. If people remember back, Matthew Stafford's been in the league a long time now. This is probably year 15 for him. He was hurt for a couple years early in his Lions career, But the book on Stafford was much like the book on Trevor when they were, in the first 5 years of their career. Trevor's been a little bit more durable, but the thinking was, it looks like Stafford's good, but why aren't the Lions winning? Why is his win-loss record so poor? But then you'd watch Detroit, and it'd be like, well, he looks good. Everyone else around him looks like, they don't know what they're doing, whether it's the coaches or the 10 guys that he's surrounded with. And as we've gotten more and more data throughout Stafford's career, obviously it's been determined Matthew Stafford is a really good NFL quarterback. He's, went to the Rams, won a Super Bowl, and, is still playing at a very high level today. So I kind of think that's where I am with Trevor. And it was a fear that I had in the draft process was, would the Jaguars put the right environment around him? Obviously, they got an F- in year one with the Urban Meyer hire. And Shad Khan, I think, has gotten kind of a C+ performance out of Doug Peterson. Really good in first year, disappointing second year, and catastrophe third year. So I don't think Trevor has been surrounded with a great environment. I certainly think it's been way more professional under Doug Peterson. But so I am seeing a lot of similarities to Trevor Lawrence's early stages of his career and Matthew Stafford's early stages of his career. And I do think that Trevor Lawrence can elevate and be the kind of pro that Matthew Stafford has become, where Stafford has never been considered an elite guy. Like he's never been on the top 4 lists of starting quarterbacks in the NFL, but he's always been in that top 12, and he'll have years where, he's much higher than that, but he's still playing at elite level in his mid-30s. No reason, in my opinion, Trevor Lawrence can't do that if he continues to dedicate himself to getting better at the nuances of the game, improving his instincts, which I think he can do. As he continues to see more things in this league, I think he'll get better.
Yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that Trevor Lawrence is going to be very good. I've seen enough. They're the big arms. There's some magnificent throws. I mean, just some magnificent throws. I also think the software is all there. They're really good guys, a really good teammate. The hardware is there. Arm strength, athleticism, instincts have to come along. I said this the other day. In my opinion, Trevor Lawrence, the biggest mistake he makes, Hays, or the biggest area where he's got to show some growth is knowing what plays not to make. If you look at he's got 11 touchdowns and 6 picks. He had 11 and 4 before the 2 the other day. The interception to Travis Etienne wasn't his fault. Travis, it was a little behind him, but it had to be thrown there because that's where the linebacker was. And instead of catching it or just dropping it, Travis knocked it up into the air and it was picked off. The one at the end of the game was his fault. In quarterback rating, in quarterback rating right now, Trevor is 23rd in the league. That's in quarterback league. I think that's going to come up. I also think they haven't found a rhythm with play calling. I agree with you. They haven't. They're 19th in the league in total offense. They're 18th in the league in scoring offense. That means the play calling isn't going well. I don't think there's any question about that. He also lost Christian Kirk. I still believe and by the way, and one other caveat to this, and I told you I've said this all along, one other Hays caveat to this is it's hard to be a quarterback right out of the gate and be good right out of the gate. Don't say, well, look at Jaden Daniels. Well, there's always exceptions. Jaden Daniels is a wonderful exception. Joe Burrow was good really fast. Other guys, Patrick Mahomes waited before he had to play. Aaron Rodgers waited for a long time before he had to play. Josh Allen at Buffalo was not very good for 3 years and then improved. Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield and Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota, and how many quarterbacks are taken first or second overall and are on their 4th team, right? I mean, the fourth team. And now Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield have now gotten pretty good, but it took team 4 in year 7 for it to happen, or wherever we are. So it's a hard position to play. I think the most important thing for Trevor will be moving forward. I don't worry. People say, well, if he doesn't throw enough interceptions, he's not taking enough risks. I don't agree with that. He's always going to be a guy that presses it down the field the way he needs to. I think the biggest area of growth for Trevor is to know what plays to check out of, to know what plays not to check out of, and to know what plays not to try and make. that play at the end of the game, again, it's kind of funny. Every player is beloved or not, or somewhere in between. Okay, if Trevor, and rightfully so, is beloved by the Jaguars fan base. Okay, so when that interception happened at the end of the game, the first thing the fans said, and I get it too, by the way, but the first narrative was, why would you call that play? Why would you throw a ball to a third-team running back on first down? Well, the real reality probably is, the thinking was, let's see if we can run that wheel route that we ran to Jermichael Hasty a couple years ago. Let's sneak him out of the backfield. Let's catch Philadelphia asleep at the wheel. Maybe the running back on linebacker usually they're in man. That's usually a pretty good situation. Let's see if we can get away with one. Let's see if we can sneak us one. And if he's not covered, Trevor throws it in the third row and it's second down. I think that's the thinking. Well, they called it, but instead of throwing it in the third row when it wasn't there, Trevor threw it despite the fact that it wasn't there. Well, let me give you the real reality. If Blake Bortles, Byron Leftwich, Blaine Gabbert had made that same throw, they'd have been vilified in the fan base. But because Trevor made it, and people are down on the play caller, and I'm not saying it was a good play call. Don't misread me. The play caller's vilified, and Trevor's not. Did you sense that?
Without a doubt.
And so it depends on where you are, how you. And I'm a big Trevor fan, but I'm just trying to be realistic here. If Gabbert, Leftwich, Bortles make that throw, they are crushed for not having the presence of mind to throw it away. It wasn't there. But when Trevor made the throw, and by the way, that's healthy. I'm glad that people feel that way about him. These kids are young kids. They're doing the best they can. You don't need to beat up every quarterback that makes a mistake. You have a little grace with them, and I like the fact that that's happened. I would like to see Trevor not make the bad plays. I think the good plays are there. I think he's tough too, man. He's not afraid to run it. He's not afraid to lower his shoulder. He's not afraid to take chances. He takes accountability. He takes blame when it didn't go wrong. I like that dude, man. But I think the biggest area of it's not learning how to make the big plays. It's not willing to take the big chances. It's knowing what plays, what risks not to take. Against Green Bay, when you're flushed, you don't switch the ball from your right hand to your left hand on your 5-yard line. You've got to know that's a play you can't make. You put the ball away and take your sack. When you're against Philadelphia at the end of the game, if Nakobe Dean has Dearness Johnson covered, you got to throw it in the third row. And by the way, Trevor would tell you that too, by the way. That, to me, is the biggest area of growth he needs to show.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is he could have a mistake coming on Sunday that, is a game situation, a management situation that you just can't have. I mean, it wouldn't be surprising because we've just seen so many mistakes that Trevor has made when it comes to that since he's joined the Jaguars. And again, I attribute it to the fact that he probably just didn't play a lot of close games in high school and college.
Got to be part of it.
And he just hasn't been exposed to as many in-game, tight game, late game situations that a lot of quarterbacks would experience in their prep and collegiate career. And so, unfortunately, the Jaguars are the ones that are having to pay for those mistakes. I don't think other than the throwing it into the end zone early in his career, where he got picked off twice doing that,
right?
He doesn't tend to make the same mistake twice.
Agreed.
So that's good. But the game of football offers the quarterback 1,000 ways that they can mismanage a play. And so that's the level of concern is, well, it's good he doesn't make the same mistake, but there's a multitude of other mistakes that could still be out there that he's yet to prove he can execute through. So that's a concern. But, again, people bring up Trevor's win-loss record, and again, I'll bring it back to Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford left the Lions at the age of 32 years old, and he was 16 games under 500 as a starter there. It had nothing to do with Matthew Stafford in Detroit.
Yeah.
It was the fact that the Lions never found the right coach, didn't put the right people around him, and as soon as Stafford went to the Rams, he won a Super Bowl. So I think it's more environmental with Trevor. I think if Shad Khan got the right coach in and play caller and offensive system, I think Trevor Lawrence could really take off. I don't know that I believe he's ever going to be, at least in the next 2 or 3 years, a top 3 or 4 guy in this league. I've sort of waved goodbye to that. But again, I would say, again, bring it back to Matt Stafford. I don't think Matthew Stafford has really ever been there. But look, he's 36 years old, and he's playing really good football for the Rams. So, and has been since he's been there, now in his 4th year. So I think part of it is he's a good player, and he, to me, is not the problem. But they do need the right people in place to really, I think, elevate him. Because right now, I think he's an average to above average quarterback, and he is getting passed by younger guys that have come into the league after Trevor, and that's a concern. C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels, just to name a couple. So, I think it's disappointing where he is at this point of his career, but I think it's more 70% environmental, 30% on Trevor, and I do think there's much brighter days ahead for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that light that took a while for Josh Allen to come on, and Sam Darnold to come on, and Baker Mayfield to come on, and and Matt Stafford to come on. There's no doubt in my mind that light's coming on here, which is why I'm glad they've extended him rather than we look up and he's doing it for the Packers or the Chargers. That's what
I was going to say. Like, if you let the Packers are a great example. Let's say Jordan Love suffered some horrific injury and they had to move off of Jordan Love for whatever reason. I know they just paid him. But that's an organization that if you put Trevor Lawrence on the Green Bay Packers with LaFleur, he is going to execute at a much higher level than he's doing now. Let's say if Brock Purdy struggled in the second half of this year and, the 49ers decided, look, we like what we've seen, but we're not really comfortable investing, a $55 million a year contract in Brock. I think they will, but just for the purposes of the hypothetical, if they decided we're not going to invest in Brock Purdy, but we'll make a trade for Trevor Lawrence, I think Trevor Lawrence with Kyle Shanahan and obviously the weapons in San Francisco, I think he could operate at elite level. So some of it is, the cards that you're dealt as a player. He was dealt a terrible hand his rookie year. We all know that. And I don't think he's been dealt a terrible hand with Doug Peterson. I think the fact that Doug brought experience as a player in the league, I think that's benefited Trevor. I think the way he's handled Trevor on a more mature platform has helped Trevor. But I also think that now Trevor needs a system that's a little bit more on the cutting edge of where the league is going. I just think that now you need to really go and embrace where this league is headed offensively, because the Jaguars just aren't doing enough things that the top offenses are doing from a schematic standpoint.
We'll take a break. Interesting conversation about Trevor Lawrence. And again, I think we both think the good times are coming for Trevor, and I'm glad they're going to be coming here. I mean that. We'll take a break. Let's get to college football. The State Farm College Football Report is next. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
He's our pathfinder through the weeds of quarterback chaos.
I'm Denny Thompson, and they call me the quarterback whisperer.
He shares his insights Friday mornings on The Drip. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security and George Moore Chevrolet on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Who has the best lineup this season? Honda. Cars, trucks, SUVs, vans, hybrids, and electric. This is one of the greatest lineups Honda has ever had. And now is the best time to purchase or lease one. Visit your local Honda dealer now. Remember, only a Honda is a Honda.
When you're shopping for insurance, you might say, "What?
Huh? I'm so over this."
But what you really need to say is something that could actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
When you get a local State Farm agent, they can help make it easy and help you choose the coverage you need. Plus, they're available online, over the phone, or even in person.
I'm so into this. Call State Farm agent Gene Coleman at 764-4139.
Okay, listen up, team. They're out to test our reputation as the best plumber in Jacks, so we gotta play like the experts we are. When customers call with leaky faucets, broken water heaters, toilet repairs, broken pipes, or any other challenge, we'll give them the solution fast. Now, who are we?
Roland Reese Plumbing!
I can't hear you.
Roland Reese Plumbing!
Now that's what a winner sounds like.
Customers always win with Roland Reach Plumbing at plumberinjacks.com.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
When they were little, the other girls played with dolls.
Aww.
They played with footballs.
Who's that?
Yes, it's us.
Helmets and heels.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
Some girls have all the fun.
Hacker here. And guys, the countdown is over. I didn't just hit the 100-pound mark. I blew past it thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss. 107 pounds gone just like that. More weight than a quarter keg of beer. Speaking of beer, here's where it gets fun. We're throwing a big celebration at Mr. Chubby's Wings in Ponte Vedra Beach. Yeah, you heard that right. A weight loss party at Mr. Chubby's. The irony's juicier than their wings, but here's the thing. I can celebrate at Mr. Chubby's and still keep the pounds off. If you didn't know, yes, wings are still on the menu while losing weight with Awaken 180 weight loss. Join me in 1010XL on November 9th for the Florida and Texas game, and you could win a spot at my table. Food is included. There'll be ticket giveaways and more for the celebration. If I can shed a whole Mr. Chubby and still throw a party at one, what's holding you back? Call Awaken 180, 844-346-1800, or hit up awaken180weightloss.com and let's get it done.
This is Hays Carlyon for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Bank in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards, and it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Being an athlete means having a healthy desire to do as much as you can with your body for as long as you can. Gatorade has lower sugar, electrolyte-backed hydration options to keep you rehydrated and replenished. Gatorade, for every athlete.
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
This is David Lane. After suffering through several painful injuries to my shoulder, back, and knees, I've taken my issues to Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, and without fail, they've been a tremendous help towards solving my problems. If you have any orthopedic situations, don't procrastinate. Take action today. Give those aches and pains to the pros at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists. You'll be glad you did.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
When you take a sip of Bold City Brewery's mini flavors, you're taking a sip of this Bold City. In Duval, since 2008, they've been cranking out craft beer for 16 plus years now. So head to their production house on Roselle Street in Riverside or Bold City downtown and sample a Duke's, their legendary brown ale. 2 great IPAs, plus Duval Light, Killer Whale, and plenty more. It's all on tap at Bold City Brewery, downtown or in Riverside. Log on and taste the craft at boldcitybrewery.com.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen. Energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Right now, save 20% on your entire project. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires November 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Welcome to ABS Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner, and home to Xerox and HP copiers.
Advanced Business Solutions.
GoABSinc.com.
Hey, Hicken here for Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code JAX, J-A-X, to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code JAX to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, man. Run your game.
I'm Max Fink here with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. Another week and another tough test for a completely distraught Florida State team. The 1-8 Seminoles heads to South Bend, where they are currently 26.5-point underdogs to the 10th-ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Not much can be done to improve the morale of Florida State this season. Here's Mike Norvell and his frustrations.
It's been a really tough season for our fan base. I mean, I understand the frustration. There's no fan that's more frustrated than I am. Right? There's nobody that's pouring more into what these players in this program than what our staff is. And I watch the work, and has it been good enough? No, it hasn't. We haven't had the results that any of us desire or that needs to be expected here.
In brighter news, the UNF women's basketball team tipped off their season last night with a commanding 146-53 win over Trinity Baptist College. It's 80 degrees at 5:01. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Time now for the State Farm College Football Report with Shane Matthews on the Gators, Tom Block on the Noles, and Joe Zagacki on the Canes. Presented by your local State Farm agent.
All right, let's get right to it. Let's start with Gator Talk. Ron McCann, Mike Tozel, Caitlin Duggar, Jason Judy, Catherine Boucher, all State Farm agents. They sponsor Shane Matthews Report. He's from the Gator Radio Network. Shane, I will say this. No team, I've never seen a team this unlucky with quarterbacks. But, boy, I thought the Gators hung around and battled against Georgia, didn't they?
They did, Frank. I think I said on your show last week we needed 2 or 3 turnovers and, to have a chance in the game, and we got 3 of them. First half was crazy. We got dominated, but we were winning the game, and Georgia only scored 3 points. So it was a tremendous effort, but, we're not giving out participation ribbons or anything like that. We still got to find ways to win the game.
Absolutely. But, Shane, I was really encouraged because it seemed like in the trenches, the Gators finally held their own with Georgia for the first time in a few years.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think what I've noticed in college football today, not only just calling games, but watching a lot, there's so much parity now due to the transfer portal. I think a lot of teams have caught or catching up, I should say, to the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States of the world, because backup players that are pretty decent players at some of these schools are coming and being starters. So, yeah, it was good to see that because I thought, the trenches were going to play a key role in the game, and we held our own.
But let me, to that end, I agree with everything you said. There is parity, but it didn't look like that early on. Something has happened with Florida to where those guys in the trenches look better than they were 4 weeks ago. And same with the secondary. I know you've always loved the secondary, but I'm starting to see it now. What happened, Shane? Something happened to make them look like better players or become better players than they were earlier.
Well, we started playing our best players.
Okay.
We used to rotate linemen on offensive linemen. I've never been on a team in all my years where we rotated players. You have your 5 starters, and they play every snap unless they got an ankle injury and they need to go get taped up and come right back in the game. So I think that has helped. Defensively, we still rotate some guys, different personnel groupings and things like that. But this Aaron Gates kid, who's like the strong safety outside backer position, he was lights out the other day, but he didn't play early in the year.
Right.
So I think they finally said, you know what? If guys get unhappy and they want to transfer, we got to quit trying to give everybody playing time and play your best players.
Shane, in terms of DJ Lagway and the hamstring, have you ever experienced anything like that? If he tries to give it a go Saturday or whenever he ends up returning, because he probably won't be 100% if he returns in the next month, what will he have to do to acclimate to playing through that injury?
Well, I was one of those guys for many years that used to look at my receivers and go, come on, dude, it's a hamstring. You can play, right? Well, until I took off running in the Metrodome against the Vikings for about a 12-yard gain and my hamstring popped. I was like, okay, I know what you're talking about now. If you really pull it, now there's new technology with PRP and all this crazy stuff. I just don't see how it's possible to play in the next couple of weeks, maybe even the rest of the year, because – DJ, his game is moving around. And as soon as you make one subtle move, you can re-aggravate that thing. And that thing can last a long time or your entire career. So I don't know what's going to happen. I would be shocked if he plays in this game.
Yeah, I would too. I don't think he's going to play in this game. That said, final thing. You're a ball coach. You're an offensive coach. What do you do with Aiden Warner when you go play this good Texas team? How you calling the game? What's going to happen here?
Well, My favorite play of the game, Frank, it was for an incomplete pass, but as soon as they put Aiden in, they threw the ball deep. First
Correct.
play.
That's right.
I love that when you put your backup in. Look, he's got a good arm. He's a talented kid. He's not a 5-star. He's very smart. I think with a whole week of practice, you just say, okay, what do you like, Aiden? We're going to call this stuff. And then obviously we've got to lean heavy on the run game. And we got to get a ton of breaks from Texas. They're very talented. We're going to need turnovers. But it should be fun, and I think our kids will go compete.
Shane Matthews from the Gator Radio Network. Thank you, Shane.
Take care, guys.
Let's head to Tallahassee. Tom Block checks in from the Seminole Radio Network. Craig Dewhurst, Remy Alabu, Margie Williams, Scott Hobson, Brandon Thomas, Tiffany Mapp. Randy Taylor, the State Farm agent, is sponsor of this report. Tom, I hate to ask the same questions every week, and I'm sure you're tired of answering the same ones every week, but I keep waiting for maybe a little bit of life, and I can't find it. Have they quit? That's an unfair question. Are they just out of gas? Have they lost confidence? Sum all that up when you see the Seminoles.
The number you have reached has been disconnected.
Well said. Well played. No matter what you say now, it's going to be a good answer, okay? Well done.
It is the same question every week because we're watching the same game every week, Frank. I don't know. I mean, there's three games to go, and it's at the point where everybody knows changes are coming. Nobody knows except maybe Mike Norvell, and I wouldn't think that he would know 100% all the changes, but he has an idea in his mind. We're all kind of waiting. We're ready to turn the page and wait to see when that's going to come. In terms of, I think you'd asked me a couple weeks ago, had he lost the team or was I concerned about that? That was before the Miami game, and I wasn't concerned going into Miami, but I was concerned. I think I commented at the time that after Miami I had concerns, and that's what we saw last week, And I don't mean that he lost the team or that he can't get it back, when you reset the counter for next year. But I do think you see some guys going through the motions at this point. Not all of them. And I don't like using the Q word because it's impugning a kid's character. And there are some guys that have played well. The corners have played pretty well this year. You wouldn't know it given the results of the game. So as to this week's matchup, I mean, it's a huge challenge. Notre Dame's really good, and Florida State's not. So, I mean, I don't know where to go from there.
Tom, I've been encouraged with Luke Kromenhoek, and I didn't get to see Saturday's game, but just from looking at his numbers, obviously they weren't very impressive. Was it things just happening around him environmentally, or did Luke just not have a very strong outing?
He wasn't as strong this week as he had been the week before, but I think candidly, the coaches can grade the quarterbacks, and at least they've got a few more boxes they're trying to check in terms of, was the call right? Did he audible right? Was he looking the right way? But candidly, the offensive line has been so poor that once the ball is snapped, they're almost in scramble mode immediately. So it's really hard to assess the talent. I think both the kids are talented, Brock Glenn too. I would assume that they will go with Brock and continue to play Luke, although in the case of Luke, he's played 3 games now. And, if you're trying to preserve a red shirt, or if he is, or his family, then he's got one more in the next 3 to play. But I think they both can be good quarterbacks, but it's really hard to assess right now because there's not good protection. The receivers are inadequate. So when you do get protection and you get a ball out, there's a lot of drops. It is nice to see the mobility that they both bring, and Luke's got a little more mobility than Brock, although they both have a little make you miss to get around the first guy and turn a negative into less negative or a short positive.
Tom Block check.
Again, it's just hard to see what you have.
Yeah, and you're right about that. If you can't block, it's hard to get it off. Tom Block checking in from the Seminole Radio Network. Great work, Tom. Thanks, buddy.
You bet.
All right, let's head to Coral Gables where Joe Zagacki is here. Joe's report is brought to you by Joe McGee and Gene Coleman, both State Farm agents. Boy, Joe, the Canes can score, man, and they can score in bunches. That game was close last week. I thought that I was in Philadelphia watching it, and I thought they might be in trouble. And then here comes that flurry, man. This Canes team is as explosive, honest to God, as any Canes team I've seen in a long time. They're not as good as 01 and the great teams. I know that. But they're as explosive as any of them, aren't they?
Yes, they are. I mean, Frank, Duke went on a 28-3 run. That was a stunner.
Yeah.
And then, I'm doing the math on Miami. I'm thinking, is this right? 36-3 for Miami? Because it didn't feel that way. I mean, flurry was a good word, but it happened so fast. And it was 5 possessions and 5 touchdowns. 7 possessions in the second half. They could have went 7 for 7. But Ward made one of his crazy plays that he'll throw in there. And then he fumbled the ball, but 7 possessions, 5 touchdowns. I think it was 5 in a row. So they're electrifying on offense, dynamic. He had 11 scrambles last week, and Duke might feel pretty good about the way they contained him. He had 11 scrambles. 2 of them ended up in touchdowns. So those are back-breaking plays that he creates.
Without a doubt. Joe, what did you think of Miami being ranked 4th in the initial playoff rankings?
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, they're ranked 4th. They would be seeded 3rd. I think it's confusing to some people, the difference between seed and rank. But I'm excited that Miami is in the mix in November. I know that this might not hold up. I thought the matchups are kind of fascinating. I would, if I'm Miami, I want to stay away from one of those December games. I don't want to go to Happy Valley on December the 19th or Columbus on December the 20th, whatever it might be. So they just got to keep on winning, and all this stuff will take care of itself. But from just like a fan perspective, I'm thrilled that Miami's in that mix.
Miami's had great receivers over the years. The Hall of Fame is full of Miami receivers. And I'm not saying Xavier Restrepo is going to the NFL Hall of Fame or the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He had 8 catches for 146 yards and 3 touchdowns last week. What a good player. He's got the record. I mean, he's really, really good, Joe. Probably I knew he was good, and he's better than I thought he was.
Yeah, he's had, Frank, 10 100-yard games in his career, 5 this season. And I think what people don't get is he and Cam Ward didn't know each other. Cam Ward knew Xavier Restrepo as well as he knew Joe Zagacki and Frank Frangie.
Yeah.
And so a lot of credit goes to Restrepo because people will say, well, what's the key for Restrepo? Well, how about this? He does his job every day, which is get open and catch the ball. And in order to get open and catch the ball every day, he works at it. He's the same for Cam Ward every day. I watched them in practice today, and every down that those 2 guys are taking reps, Restrepo gives Cam Ward the same level of effort. And then they do it again when practice is over. And I think that must mean the world to Cam Ward and their relationship. As a quarterback has to know, his go-to guy is reliable, and that's what Restrepo is. He's reliable, and he's worked his way in to becoming a record-breaking wide receiver.
Final thing, go to Georgia Tech. It's on the road. Georgia Tech was 5-2 now until they lost a couple to pretty good teams here. Is this one sticky for the Canes or no?
I think it is. They're 5-2 in ranked games against ACC opponents. I think it's tricky for a couple reasons. One, Georgia Tech has always been, no pun intended, a bee sting to Miami. Yeah. The series is 14-14, and it should not be. Miami should have the better football program than Georgia Tech. But the series is 14-14. Miami's under 500 in Atlanta. We don't know if their quarterback is going to play. If he doesn't, they still have 2 great playmakers in Haynes and Singleton who could play for Miami. They could play for Florida State. They could play for Florida. Jamal Haynes and Eric Singleton are really good players, and they've adjusted their defense where they are a top 40, top 50 team against the run. So they're good enough to create problems for Miami if Miami does not bring their A game. It's interesting to note that Miami, Frank, has had these lulls, and it's the second quarter. The second quarter is their lowest scoring quarter. The fourth quarter is their highest scoring quarter. They've outscored their opponent in the fourth quarter 131-41.
Wow, what a number it is. Joe Zagacki checking
So they've
in.
scored more points in the fourth quarter than Florida State has scored all season.
How about that?
133 to 130.
How about that? More points in the fourth quarter than Joey's grinning in here when he read that stat. He's got a little smirk on his face. That's what I'm dealing with around here.
That's a good stat. That's a good one.
Joe Zagacki, the voice of the Canes. Joe, thanks, buddy. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's Joe Zagacki talking Canes. Tom Block, who had the line of the month, by the way.
Phenomenal.
From talking FSU football. And before that, Shane Matthews talked about the Gators. That is the State Farm College Football Report. Hays Carlyon has headlines after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Frank Frangie here. These days, it's hard to know which companies to trust. But when it comes to banking, I trust South State Bank. South State truly values its customers, and they work hard to create meaningful, lasting relationships. I love going into my local branch. I see the same smiling faces I've seen for years. South State is the largest bank headquartered in Florida, so they're able to offer all the banking services you need. You can trust South State Bank. Banking forward. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Get the coach's perspective.
Constant improvement, every day, every week.
Doug Peterson joins the Frangie Show Fridays at 4:05.
This group is eager to win.
Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, custom windows and doors on 1010XL.
Why go big or go home when you can go epic and save at Arlington Toyota? Mia here, and right now you can lease a new 2024 Corolla LE for only $89 a month. A new 2025 Camry SE for only $129 per month. Need an SUV? Then lease a new 2024 RAV4 XLE for only $199 per month. Our friends at Arlington even have epic lease savings on trucks too. Go epic and save big at Arlington Toyota. Shop arlingtontoyota.com today.
I'm Holt Harrell. Generations of Harrells have served in the military. We understand the sacrifices that veterans and their families have made. Please join us this Veterans Day in honoring our servicemen and women. I'm Holt Harrell with Harrell & Harrell. As we stay committed to the Northeast Florida community, it seems like other law firms want to take over the world. In a world of law factories, choose a law firm with a name you know, a name you trust. Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool? Our first contestant, a stay-at-home gymnast from Jacksonville, Florida, it's Gwendolyn Pierce.
Thank you, Monty. I don't know who installed my air conditioner, but it hasn't had a tune-up in over 3 years. Am I cool?
Let's ask our expert judging panel. Judges? I'm sorry, Gwendolyn. You're not cool. Johnny, tell her why.
That's right. To keep your air conditioner performing at its best, you need a skilled technician to check your pressures, voltages, and air filters in the fall and the spring. At Bueller Air and Plumbing, our club members get 2 free visits a year to make sure that you are cool.
Can you tell me if my haircut is sexy?
You're better off not asking.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at projaxroofingfl.com.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hays Carlyon from MyBookie. Our listeners have been killing it in a year full of surprises. MyBookie is the one book that's got your back. No fluff, no second guessing, just straight up action. Does your other sports book pay out when you push on a bet? MyBookie pays you back, and if you're new to the game and not sure where to start, we've got you covered. Step up, use our promo code 1010XL, and that'll double your bankroll with 100% deposit bonus right from the jump. Here's a pro tip to get you rolling. The NFL teams with powerhouse offensive lines are dominating the run game this year, and betting game total unders has been printing money. Stack that with MyBookie's risk-free Thursdays, so why wait? There's a new risk-free odds boost every Thursday. To find the bet, click on the Bet Boost tab and scroll down. If it hits, you win. If it doesn't, MyBookie refunds your money. Sign up now, get your double deposit bonus with promo code 1010XL, the best sign-up bonus for Florida bettors. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Jags Hall of Famer Tony Baselli puts on his gold jacket every Monday morning at 7:20 on The Drill.
Does look good.
It's Hall of Fame Monday with Tony Baselli.
Good? It's great.
Brought to you by Heritage Roofing of North Florida on 1010XL.
Total Wine & More is having a Taste of Town November 8th and 9th from noon to 6 both days. Enjoy great liquor brands, craft beer, and more. Brackish Vodka is excited to announce 6 additional flavors, and all can be sampled and purchased at the Total Wine & More Taste of Town November 8th and 9th. Come to Total Wine at the Town Center and sample great local brands. Brackish Vodka is a proud partner of the Jaguars and proud to be supporting the Taste of town.
Once in a lifetime savings.
No corporate jeweler does that.
Beard's Diamonds does. It's their incredible 44th anniversary sale.
Everything store-wide is on sale, up to an unbelievable 44% off at the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
Joint replacement surgery is always a tough decision, but relief from chronic pain may be just around the corner. Dr. George Barra here, and there's a lot to consider to make sure you get the proper diagnosis and best path back to the range of motion and mobility you had. Age, lifestyle, and overall health all play a part. Let the team at Barra Orthopedics give you a full analysis to help you make the best decision. Log on to barriorthopedics.com or call the office to make an appointment. With offices across Jacksonville and ready to help you feel good again, we'll get you back on the road to recovery at Barra Orthopedics.
Are you a member of the Ran Out of Room Club? Maybe it's a boat, RV, or cars. Maybe it's office space. A luxury storage unit at the Shed is your solution. Opening soon in Atlanta Beach. AC and plumbing available and spots filling fast. Don't join the Ran Out of Time Club. Go to theshedjacks.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? Gather round.
It's Hays' Headlines, presented by Harrell & Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
All right, welcome back. Yes, our friends at Harrell & Harrell. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, give them a call. 251-1111. They are great people. They'll take outstanding care of you. Harrell & Harrell, 251-1111, 251-1111. We've got Frank Frangie, JJ LaSalva. I'm Hays Carlyon. Frank, we'll start with the Jaguars. The Jaguars bringing back journeyman quarterback C.J. Beathard to the 53-man roster. Beathard was obviously with them in training camp, and with Trevor Lawrence limited in practice, want a third guy on the roster.
Yeah, insurance policy. What you don't want to do is if Trevor can't go, you don't want to have only one quarterback available. You didn't have one on the practice squad, so you couldn't elevate somebody. So the bottom line is you need someone to back up Mac Jones if Trevor can't play. Hopefully, Trevor's a tough guy now. That's a tough hombre, and he answers that bell a lot, probably sometimes when he shouldn't have. My guess is Trevor will be able to play. I hope so. And CJ's here for insurance. Hey, he knows the playbook. He knows the team. Makes a lot of sense.
Trevor Lawrence did speak with reporters after practice today and said that he is sore, but is aiming to play Sunday against the Vikings.
And that's who he is. I say what you want. Good luck. He's kind of like Brandon Sheriff. Good luck keeping that cat out of a game. My guess is Trevor will play.
Speaking of Brandon Sheriff, he did not practice today, but that's not a surprise. I would think it's just basically give him as much rest as possible and then let him be ready against the Vikings on Sunday. But no practice for Brandon Sheriff. Ezra Cleveland also did not practice, but Doug Peterson met with reporters today and said that he believes Andrew Wingard will play and make his season debut Sunday against Minnesota.
Yeah, and hey, look, Dewey will help the cause. Dewey's a guy that safety play has been a bugaboo, and he's a veteran guy that is familiar back there. And look, I'm not saying the world changes because Dewey comes back, but he's a damn good football player, and I'm glad he's going to be on the field.
Let's get to around the NFL. Kansas City dodged a bullet. Patrick Mahomes the other night threw a touchdown pass, but really looked awkward with his leg when he released it. Went down to the ground. It even kind of appeared like he might have hurt his Achilles. Comes off the field. Obviously, he's fine, returns. The Chiefs win the game in overtime. Mahomes met with reporters today and said he is able to move around and he will not be limited. Kansas City has a big game against Denver, who has a winning record this coming Sunday.
He would be losing him would be the biggest injury since the Patriots lost Brady that year and Matt Castle had to play the season. Remember that? So so good. I'm glad he didn't get hurt. You don't want to see Patrick Mahomes out.
Browns general manager Andrew Berry commented on Deshaun Watson, the quarterback who has really struggled since that blockbuster trade and fully guaranteed contract. Andrew Berry not ruling out the possibility that Deshaun Watson could return as Cleveland's quarterback once he is healed from his Achilles injury. Man, when you look at the dead money the Browns have to take on by releasing him, it is staggering. Frank, what do you think happens with Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I think ultimately they move on. I think they move on and eat the money. Listen, you can't keep digging the same hole. As bad as that is, he's really not been very good. His best game was probably here when he was elusive. He didn't throw for a lot of yards here, but he was elusive in that second game of the year. But look, they got that one wrong. Unlike some of the other veterans, I don't see him popping up again, though. A lot of these veterans, they get cut, they get cut, they get traded. And the next thing you know, they're Andy Dalton, and they're playing 15 years, and they're starting because Bryce Young isn't available or struggling. I don't see that with Deshaun Watson.
You think he might have played his last snap?
I think he certainly played his last meaningful snap. Meaningful snap. I'm not saying he won't be on somebody's roster at some point, but I don't think he'll ever impact the league.
I think there's a chance he's played his last snap.
He could. But I don't think he's going to impact the league.
Yeah. Let's get to college football. The playoff rankings are out. Our first one with the 12-team variety. Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, Miami, and Texas are your top 5. Again, of course, with how they do the conference champions, that would be shifted around. Miami would be the 3 seed. The 8-1 SMU Mustangs were 13th. Frank, did you have any issue with that, or Alabama checking in at 11 is the highest 2-loss team?
Not yet, because it'll play itself out. If the tournament was now, I would probably have some problems with where some of the teams are placed. But there's a lot of games left. This was a starting point. It's a good starting point. But no, I'm okay with where it is now. It's what I expected, to be honest with you.
Let's get it to the Florida Gators. Receiver Trey Wilson will miss the rest of the season after undergoing hip surgery. Apparently, this is an issue that he's had throughout his entire life that they're finally getting corrected. Wilson only played in 4 games this season for Florida, so he can preserve his red shirt.
Yeah, it's a legitimate injury. He had a legitimate surgery, and I don't pretend to know more about it than that. I do wonder if they were 8-0, 7-1, ranked 8th, with really good quarterback play and lighting up defenses, if it's something he could have played through. Now, I don't know that, and I don't want to make it sound like I do. But I can't help but wonder if it wasn't as much about preserving. And I'm not saying that I think that the surgery was needed and legitimate, but is it something you play through and get the surgery after the year if you're 8-1 and leading the nation in receiving?
Right. And I think it's now really interesting to see, does he come back? Yeah. If Lagway comes back, if you're Wilson, don't you stay? Well, you certainly would think that you'd want to play with Lagway.
Yeah, there's a bunch of questions there. Number one, what kind of NIL money's he got? Number two, who else wants him? Look, DJ Lagway might be a great player. But if he and I don't know who the rising star quarterback is at LSU, Alabama, Georgia, whatever. But if there's a megastar quarterback at LSU and he gets
it'd be Nussmeier.
Yeah, is Nussmeier still going to be there again?
Yeah,
next
he could
year?
come back.
Okay, so I figured he'd be in the draft. But let's say Nussmeier comes back and he's the leading Heisman candidate or whatever, and they offer him millions of dollars. Would I take that over Lagway? I'd have to think about it. Yeah, so I don't think it's a laydown that he's back.
Yeah, that's one I think Florida fans are going to have to really sweat out in December on Trey Wilson in his return to Gainesville.
I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that he played 4 games in his house.
I would agree. Let's get it to our musical note of the day. Glenn Frey, born on this date in 1948. Frey was a founding member of the Eagles. They were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998, first ballot induction. He also had a successful solo career in the 1980s while the Eagles were on a hiatus. Frey died on January 18th, 2016 at the age of 67. This is Take It Easy, the debut single by the Eagles released in 1972.
For me, the smoothest lead vocals of the rock era. Glenn Frey is my favorite voice from a rock. The Eagles aren't first for me. Springsteen's first. But the Eagles, I took his loss hard. People that I talk to music about, I still bring it up, is that the fact that Glenn Frey was gone so long, or gone so fast, the fact that I will never hear Glenn Frey sing Take It Easy or Peaceful Easy Feeling ever again really stung me. I think we were on the air when we found out about it. So great call on this. The great Glenn Frey gone way too soon at the age of 67 years ago. We'll take a break. Josh Pate jumps in. It's our Woolsey Morecambe National College Football Report after this.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Action Update, brought to you by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
NFL week number 10 begins on Thursday night. The Baltimore Ravens hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. Matchup between Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. The Ravens at 6-3, a half game behind Pittsburgh in the AFC North. The Bengals at 4-5. Baltimore is a 6.5-point favorite, -105 against the spread. The Bengals getting 6.5 points, -115. On the money line, Cincinnati plus plus 230, while Baltimore is minus 280. The over-under sits at 52.5. Baltimore plus 600 to win this year's Super Bowl, behind Kansas City at plus 375 and Detroit at plus 450. This update brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm Tony Desiri with your VSiN Action Update on 1010 XL.
The last thing you want to be dealing with this holiday season is a septic emergency. Plan ahead and schedule to have your septic tank pumped out now. Our wonderful team at Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is standing by and ready for your call. We'll get your septic tank pumped out right away, giving you one less thing you have to worry about this holiday season. Check out our reviews online and give us a ring today. 904-862-6769. That's 904-862-6769 or duckduckrooter.com.
It's time for Bravo Days, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified sales event at Nimnick Buick GMC. For a limited time, enjoy rates as low as 1.9% APR or $500 in down payment assistance on Car Bravo certified vehicles at Nimnick. So now is the time to shop certified used vehicles and buy with confidence at Nimnick Buick GMC, Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified dealer. Now, buying a certified used vehicle has never felt better. With Car Bravo, Nimnick Buick GMC can certify all makes and models: Honda, Toyota, Kia, Mazda, Ford, all makes, all models. And trading in your old vehicle? Well, don't forget who gives you the top dollar for your trade. Nobody but Nimnick. So shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com or visit their showroom off Phillips Highway. Remember, it's Bravo Days, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo certified sales event is at Nimnick.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles Update. The always popular Stadium Club Baseball is out today, and it has some of the best card photos all year. Look for rookie cards of Wyatt Langford and Colton Cowser, inserts like Beam Team and Going Yard. Stadium Club Baseball at Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. You know, pool design has come a long way, and if your pool is outdated, Stanley Pools specializes in bringing older pools up to date for the whole family to enjoy. That's why I did it a few years ago, and man, I love the way my pool looks now after we added travertine pavers and so much else. Stanley Pools has been serving our community since 1988, so call them today at 269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Get this thing unwrapped here.
Praz, what in the world are you doing working on your Duval?
That's right, man. I really identify with Duval.
You live in St. John's County, knucklehead.
I mean the Duval sub, the Dailies Dash Duval. Turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheeses. Lettuce, tomato, crispy and fresh, you know, like me. I'm sure there's a Dailies Dash sub that sums you up.
The boss.
Because, of course.
Oven roasted beef, Munster cheese, roasted mushrooms, caramelized onions. It's the boss of all subs. Only available for me.
That's just not true.
What do you mean? I walked in the other day, screamed, "You know it!" and said, "A boss for a boss."
Well, no matter who you are, there is a Dailies Dash sandwich or sub for you.
Go find yours. They may even make you a boss.
I'm sure they will, because it is Dailies Dash.
Where more is better.
And you got that right.
Looking for an affordable and fast oil change? Well, Big Chief Tire has you covered. Frank Frangie here. Right now, take $10 off your next oil change at any of their 5 convenient locations. Their skilled technicians will keep your car running smoothly so you can hit the road with confidence. Whether it's routine maintenance or a more extensive service, Big Chief Tire is here to help. Visit WeKeepJacksRollin.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your appointment and take advantage of this great deal. Big Chief Tire keeps Jacks rolling.
Follow the Canes as they storm the ACC.
I'm 1010XL's JJ LaSelva, and every week I'll bring you the Miami news and notes you need to know.
The Performance Painting Hurricane Report on 1010XL. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Make a crucial catch against colon cancer. Hicken here for the Borland Gruber Foundation. If you're 45 or older, the ball is in the red zone to get screened. The key to surviving colon cancer, early detection and prevention. 45 is the new 50. Get screened for colon cancer now. The Borland Groover Foundation is a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Trevor Lawrence was notably late exiting the locker room to start the second half of last Sunday's game against the Eagles, which had people wondering if he was okay, which he let people know this week that he is. Here's Trevor today on how his body feels entering the game week.
Yeah, still a little sore today. I mean, shoot, not much different than other weeks, but this point in the year, yeah, still dealing with a little soreness, so hopefully I can get that flushed out throughout the week. I'm doing everything I can to be out there. So I've gotten banged up in the past. So I just try to do everything I can during the week to prepare myself to play Sunday and just put as much time as possible into that and getting healthy. So that's the way my mind is right now.
Trevor's soreness is normal as his body's taken a lot of shots over the last 9 games. I'm Max Fink with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
All right, where we've been on the course of the program today. Been a busy show today. We have talked Jaguar football. CJ Beathard is here. We kind of assessed where Trevor Lawrence is, how Trevor's played over the course of the year. Had fun talking about that. Talked a little of college football, the State Farm College Football Report. Shane Matthews, Tom Block, and Joe Zagacki all joined us on the program today. And we talked a little bit about where the college football world's going, what chances our teams have as they get on the road. Hays did a good job with headlines as well, including remembering the great Glenn Frey, the lead singer from the Eagles, and that is where the show has been today. I will say this. We'll ask Josh Pate this. He's going to join us momentarily for the Woolsey Morecambe National College Football Insider. I am excited about watching Florida, Texas. I don't think Florida can hang with them without a scholarship quarterback.
Imagine that.
But but the defense has found something that frustrated Tennessee and frustrated Georgia and laid it to Kentucky. Well, the defense is still going. You know, I just checked. The rest of the players are all going to get on the plane. And
Jaden Baugh is going to get on the plane.
And Jaden Baugh's getting on the plane, right. And so yeah, I think they're not going to beat Texas. But and it could get away from them at the end because I don't think Florida's going to be able to compete much offensively. But the kid does have a whole week to practice. So the handful of nakeds and easy throws they're going to put in there, he will be able to execute. The defense has found a little fire to him. Looks like everybody else is going to be pretty healthy. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it.
I also think if you're Billy Napier, this might be a game where you go into the bag of tricks, which normally would be woeful for the Gators, but you've really got nothing to lose in this game. You're a 3-touchdown underdog. So it does make me wonder, are you going to see a fake punt? Are you going to see something that tries to steal a possession from Texas, a surprise onside, something like that? Do you see him maybe be a little bit more aggressive on 4th down if it's, 4th and 3 or longer? Does he? I mean, I don't know that he's going to put that confidence in Warner, but this feels like the kind of game that if Florida is really going to steal it, they're going to have to find a way to create an extra possession or two.
Yeah, and I do think this you knew because the team was kind of helpless when Max Brown went in there, played against FSU. They weren't going to be able to do much. I feel like this will be more efficient than that, even though he was a scholarship player in this. Do you get that feeling?
I do,
think the team's better. I think the team has a little more. The defense will be better or is better, which means it's not likely he's going to have to come from behind big. Yeah, I think, again, he's not part of the future, but it'll be fun to watch, I think.
Well, and I would lean on the run game. I mean, you want to obviously, again, shorten this game, frustrate Texas's offense, and, by hopefully having drives that chew up 6-7 minutes of clock. So I would anticipate a lot of running. I would anticipate a trick or two from Napier, who really hasn't done much of that this year because I think he's so petrified of it not working. But now I would say this. I think you've got nothing to lose. I mean, if you're Billy Napier. And again, I just don't think Florida's administration should now be judging him. I mean, you can't possibly expect him to beat a top 4 team with a walk-on quarterback. It's just, and they've had a lot of injuries even beyond Mertz and Lagway.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's just been so much that I think if you're Billy Napier, and again, I think Strickland should have come out this week and said he's our guy for next season to kind of take it all off the table. But if I'm Billy Napier, this is a game where I am gonna take some chances, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and the fans will hate me, and that's fine. But I think that's got to be in Florida's plan to try and pull this upset.
Yeah, Josh Pate, by the way, had an emergency arise. We certainly understand Josh. We'll get him later in the week for sure. Josh is a good dude, and he's always kind to come on when we ask him, so really knows college football. So no worries with Josh. We'll get him on some point later on in the week, which and that'll be fine. I'm looking forward to that. I'll say this about we're talking about did Billy gain a little more support in the Gator Nation? It's gone from everybody wanting him out to about half and half. The haters still want – the people that still want you fired still want you fired. I think for the most part, he could beat FSU, be 5-7, and maybe be back anyway. I like your idea. I would go ahead and announce it. If not, win it, beat FSU and one of the good teams, and he's definitely back. I don't think there's any question about that. The one thing they can't have, though, is 45-3 Saturday. But because – you never know how you feel until it's over.
Yeah, well, you may get that.
Yeah, and no, I know that.
Yeah.
And I think 45-3, remember, everything for the people that wanted him fired, then have kind of they've been talked off the ledge a little bit. 45-3, they're right back on the ledge because that almost.
You don't know how you feel until it really happens.
That's exactly right. That's the point.
It's easy to be like, hey, they're not supposed to win these games, but then when it goes down and the way you feel.
Correct.
Yeah, but I'll say this, and I'm just one opinion, but I have zero expectation in this game, like at all. I mean,
but again,
when you're down to your third quarterback who was never supposed to take a snap for you, I mean, yeah.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that, but I think JJ's point is the one I was making too. That I feel that way too, but I know it's not you and me. Like you said, we're only two people. Twitter will blow up. Remember, there's still some people that still really, really want him fired. I mean, some people really want him fired. Some people want him fired like right now, like really want the guy fired. So to that end, if all of a sudden the people that are angry that some people are not on that train anymore, 45-3 happens, they're going to go right back to it. So I think it's going to get noisy again.
Yeah, I mean, again, I would caution Gator fans. You just played the cocktail party, very emotional, intense game. Texas had a bye week. And you're traveling to Texas. I mean, not only is Texas way more talented, they also have 2 massive intangibles in their corner. They also have easily the 2 best quarterbacks in this game, assuming Lagway doesn't play. And so, I mean, if you're expecting this game to come down to the final 4 minutes, I've got bad news for you. I mean, it will take an unbelievable effort from Florida to push Texas in this game.
Yeah, and again, I agree with all that. But again, how they feel. So my opinion is if they get shellacked, it's going to hurt his cause. That's what I think. So hopefully, but I'll also tell you that if past history, recent history is indication, they're not going to get shellacked. They may get it might be 24-6 because they just can't score. But I don't think it's 54-6. I think the defense has hung around long enough. I think they'll find a way to run the ball and hold the ball some. And so, but it'll be very interesting to see the way this whole thing plays out. I also think that to your point, if you do give him a little bit of, if you do support him now, at least for next year, I think you'll see you'll see them rally a little bit in the recruiting rankings. And I'm very interested in how quickly the portal thing. When's the portal window? It changes all the time.
It does. I'd have to look it up. I think it's.
Did they make it earlier now?
I did. I think
there's
it's
not
like
a post-spring portal now, right? Why did I think that? Like Badger came in the post-spring portal?
Correct. I think that is still there, but I think they've tightened the windows.
The early window.
But yeah, I think in December it opens back up. And,
yeah.
And I think somewhat it depends on when your season ends for players.
Right. Yeah. It'll be interesting for me.
They shortened it from 45 to 30 days. So for the 2004-05 school year, the dates will be December 9th through the 28th, and then April 16th through the 25th. So they still have the spring one, but it's just shorter.
Okay, so give me the
December 9th through the 28th, and then the spring one is 16th through the 25th of April.
Now here's what I don't know. Does that mean when you can enter the portal or when you can be plucked out of it?
I think you can enter it now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm assuming like if you left school after the bowl game.
I don't think so.
I don't think the bowl game.
I don't think you can enter it until it opens.
Okay, I agree.
I don't think you can enter it until it opens.
And I think there's special, like if you played in the playoff, if you made it to the national title game, then those players get a longer window.
And then if you lose your coach, then you can bring kids in, or they could leave.
They get an automatic 30-day window to leave.
Yeah. But I think again, I've been saying this all along ever since they started this run of playing better. They've only won one game against a good team, but since they started this run of playing better, I've looked at that roster a bunch of times, and there are good young players on that team that I did not think were there. Cam Jackson's a senior, cannot come back. The right tackle, Crenshaw Dixon, is a senior, cannot come back. I think those are the only two seniors of significance that cannot come back if they choose to. Now, Caleb Banks probably isn't coming back.
Can Badger come back?
I think about it. The two receivers can't come back. DK and Badger can't come back. I forgot about them. So DK and Badger, Cam and Dixon, Crenshaw Dixon cannot come back. Those four cannot come back. But and I don't think Caleb Banks is going to come back. He's probably done enough now.
And I would think Asa Turner, even though he got injured like in the first half of his first game, I would imagine at 33 years old, we'll move on.
We'll test the combine. Yeah. But the point is, where I'm going with this is a high percentage of those players who seem to have turned the corner can come back and be Gators next year.
Absolutely.
A very high percentage. Like every running back, every tight end, every other receiver, 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen and 7 of the top 8, every linebacker.
The secondary.
The entire secondary other than Turner
Marshall.
And Jason Marshall, right? That's right. So, you're right, I forget him. But you get the point.
Yeah.
There's 5 or 6 that can't. The rest of them, if they choose to, can come back. And all of a sudden, this Pyburn guy's pretty good. These linebackers, Pup and Shamar James and Graham and Childs are pretty good. This secondary guy, Gates, is like pretty damn good. And Castell is slowly becoming pretty good. And Devin Moore's pretty good. And Kermani McLean's pretty good. I'm naming guys. Listen, we did this show this time last year. We couldn't have named anybody.
No.
There's nobody you would have named that you said might come back and be pretty good players. There's like zero. There's 0 guys you would have said, maybe Trey Wilson. You might maybe right. I mean,
there's certainly enough talent on this team that if DJ Lagway is a superstar next year, which he might be, they can win at least 9 games. It will not be a team if Lagway stays healthy and becomes a star. There is no reason to think Florida can't win at least 9 games against what will again be a very difficult schedule because the schedule basically just flips.
Yeah,
and so it's basically the same teams for the most part. But Lagway will have talent around him.
Yeah,
and you see what Florida does in the portal, and I don't expect them to have a lot of true freshmen come in and contribute, but they shouldn't really need that.
Yeah, but it's the same teams minus Cam Ward, Carson Beck, Jackson Dart. I think Garrett Nussmeier's out. I know you said he could come back, JJ, but it's the same teams minus those guys.
Right.
That's what's different about the teams is if Nussmeier goes to the draft, he's pretty good. I think Nussmeier will be in the draft. I could be wrong. Nussmeier, Dart, Cam Ward, Beck. That's 4 you don't have to play.
Uiagalelei.
No, I heard he's coming back for a 9th year.
Okay.
But that's a bunch of guys that are out, so it'll be interesting to see what winds up happening. So, all right, let's say hello to my friend Rick Ballou.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
I've got one thing to say to you and one thing only. C.J. Beathard. That's all I've got for you, okay?
He's back.
C.J. Beathard.
Good to have him back. Good guy. Help out. Good locker room guy. He's good in that core. You put him in there with McCoy and Peterson and Press Taylor and Trevor. And
core guy?
Yeah, a lot of positive things when those five get together. So.
How you doing over there, Blue? You good?
I'm doing great,
you
man.
Good?
You kidding me? Everything's fantastic.
How the Bruins doing? Bruins off to a good start?
Bruins either can't score or their opponent can't score.
Okay.
They won 3-0, 2-0, then lost 4-0.
Okay, it's a lot of shutouts.
I got
Shutout
the Philly.
hockey.
Yeah, I got the Philly, and my plane got delayed. I was hoping to get there by the second period. And by the time I got there, it was deep in the third. But they do it right in Philadelphia. You know, they have those three facilities.
Yeah, right there.
All right there
together. And
they got that one bar. They don't. You would think they'd have a bunch of little bars around. It's a total racket. You got one huge bar. It's a $20 cover. I know because I had to wait there for 2 hours to get an Uber out of there after the game on Sunday. But it's fantastic, man. I mean, this place inside is just a mammoth sports bar with some of the biggest television screens I've ever seen. Almost reminds me, have you ever been to Arlington?
Yeah, I have.
In Texas.
Yes.
You know that one there?
I do.
It's very reminiscent to being in Arlington, Texas.
And they got all the stuff together. So
I enjoyed it. It gave me a good look at Cam Robinson and the Minnesota Vikings during that Sunday night game.
You know who Ballou hung with on Saturday night?
Philly Godfather.
Philly Godfather. I mean, I know that was an easy one.
That's
awesome. I wasn't going to slide that one over there. Okay?
And you tell me we did not walk through the kitchen to get to a table at his Greek restaurant?
I heard you did.
That is a 100% true story.
I know,
First
you
off,
told
he
me.
pulls up in a Corvette that has 15 miles on it. It's right off the shelf.
Right. The
And,
Godfather.
it was fun. It was
been
a
a good
fun
year.
night.
All right, what's
Oh,
coming
he's
up
had a
tonight?
great year.
What are you doing? What's tonight?
Tonight, talk a little bit about Trevor here in the Jaguars. Also, spent a lot of time today kind of going through everything. And, if they're going to drop a 12-team college football playoff on us, I think we should review it and talk about who was overranked, underranked, and then just look at this weekend. I mean, the SEC in particular, I think there's 3 teams that, could be eliminated. That Alabama-LSU game, and if Georgia beats Mississippi, those 3 teams with 2 losses, they're out. Here's one for you. The last 4 Alabama head coaches to face LSU for the first time lost.
Wow.
Do you know who the last Alabama head coach was to win the first time they faced LSU?
Only because you said that, I'll say do both.
Gene Stallings.
Okay, how about
in
that?
1990.
Yeah, how about that?
So if you follow that trend, you got to
that?
play the Bayou Bengals on
done.
Saturday night.
All good stuff coming up. Rick's got all that for you that comes up right now. That'll do it for our program. Don't go anywhere. Rick Ballou goes into the night right now. We're out of here. For Hays and JJ, I'm Frank Frangie. Do want to remind you, tomorrow, 2 to 4 now. That's our 2 to 4 shift on Thursdays in football season. Greg McGarity stops by, and a whole lot more to do on that